The federal government is revamping what is called the Strong Borders Act. The legislation, also known as Bill C-2, includes new measures aimed at strengthening the Canada-U.S. border. But other aspects of this bill, including allowing police new powers to access Canadians' digital information, are now being removed. The changes come after months of scrutiny over the bill, spanning from civil liberties groups to the opposition parties. So for more on the updated legislation this morning, we're joined from Ottawa by Howard Sapers, Executive Director of the Canadian Civil Liberties Association. Good morning.
Good morning.
So as recently as August, our public safety minister has said the original Bill C-2 needs to meet the needs of law enforcement to keep Canadians and communities safe. Very broad statement. What do you believe the government is making? Why do you believe they're making these adjustments now?
Well, there was a broad and deep coalition that formed almost immediately when C-2 was introduced into Parliament, and that coalition found problems in just about every aspect of the bill. There's several things that were all jammed together into that legislation. There were certainly border security measures, but there was also new law enforcement measures and immigration measures that particularly landed on migrants seeking citizenship or permanent residency status in Canada. But it also gave broad authority to the police, what the government was calling lawful access, which a lot of other people called unlawful access, to really snoop into the digital lives of Canadians in a way that was unprecedented. So this broad coalition formed, the government realized that it had taken a misstep. And so now we have Bill C-12. Some of those things that were concerning in C-2 are still in C-12. Other things have been stripped out, but the government has said they're committed to still bringing those things forward into policy. So frankly, it's a little confusing at this point.
Yeah, I'm hoping you can provide some clarity for us. One of the key issues included making it easier for police to access data like internet subscriber information and not needing a warrant to do so. The red flags that were there before in C-2, what still exists in C-12?
Well, in C-12, what were known generally as parts 14 and 15 of the old bill, those things that really gave that access for law enforcement without warrant, without judicial oversight to really, look at the digital dust and the digital footprints of Canadians. Those things have been taken out. But as I say, the government says it remains committed to introducing those things into law. So we're now going to have this two-step process where certain things will be fast-tracked around the border, and those other things that were really more law enforcement related are still going to be pursued. And I note that Bill C-2 is not off the order paper. So it's hard to say that they've been eliminated or taken out. We just had this separation of these two, and now we have this sort of bifurcated legislative process. So we'll still see. I have a feeling that there's more to come from the government on this.
This Strong Borders Act, of course, is in part and a larger part of this trade war that is ongoing, that is showing the United States that we are taking our border security seriously. And it's important for viewers to remember there is already some digital sharing back and forth across the border. That came about through CUSMA, but there were concerns over how Bill C-2 could lead to increased information sharing with the United States. Last month, U.S. President Trump signaled a presidential memorandum that adds new beliefs as indicators for domestic terrorism, and that includes anti-Americanism, anti-Christianity, anti-capitalism, and extremism on migration, race, and gender. That is quite a soup to mix together. How do moves like this from the Trump administration underscore the concerns for us here in Canada?
Well, I think that you've put a really nice cap on it. So the information sharing is with the United States for sure. It's also with other foreign governments. And those other governments, including the United States, may not have the same regard for Canadian standards and practices and safeguards regarding privacy and regarding the fundamental freedoms that Canadians enjoy in terms of freedom to worship and freedom of expression. So right now, the way the law was introduced, the government would have been able to have law enforcement and border security agencies have direct access, for example, into Canadian cell phones. When it comes with the migrant community, the law would give the government access to the migrant serving agencies and have them share their data, which could then be shared with the United States or other governments without necessarily any regard to the way the information is shared, stored, or managed or even collected. So it's deeply concerning when you see a list like that talks about, well, if you're anti-American or if you're anti-Christian, without even really, defining what those things mean,
Right.
let alone just on the surface, how concerning that is.
Howard Saper is Executive Director of the Canadian Civil Liberties Association. Great to have you on this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.